Jackie, a makeup artist in Bristol, South Gloucestershire, and I just want to share some tips on timings for your wedding morning. I do about 40-50 weddings a year, and I've been working in weddings since about 2013, 2014. So yeah, so I've seen lots of wedding mornings, so I just wanted to share tips to make sure it runs as smoothly as possible for you. So the first thing I just want you to think about is where you want to spend it. Would you prefer to be at home with your parents, your parents or your mum making cups of tea, at the hotel or Airbnb, or at the venue? Second thing just to think about is who you want to spend it with. We all know and love our family, but we know some of them aren't the best in certain situations. Or you might have your best friend who's got a newborn baby. So just think about things like that. And if you've got children, where they're going to be, who's going to look after them when you're having your hair and makeup done, things like that. So just make sure you think about who you want to spend it to. Do you want your dog to be there? Like me, I'd love my dog to be there. Are they going to be the best at, climbing on things and getting your dress dirty? Your wedding morning is obviously going to be maybe quite emotional, so you just want to make sure you've got your people there who love you and are supportive and are going to make the morning as lovely as possible for you, because don't forget, your wedding morning starts as soon as you open your eyes, so you want it to be as lovely and as smooth as possible, just to get you in the right headspace for the actual day itself. Third thing I want you to think about is logistics. If you're staying in an Airbnb and you have to leave that Airbnb and you're staying at the wedding venue that day, just think about not only transport, time to pack up your bags and things like that, and get ready. Where bridesmaids are going to say, how are they going to get to the venue? Do they need to get there earlier than you? And just lots of things like that. It's just good to have a good plan in place on the actual morning itself. Just think about how far it is from the wedding venue. Just check local events. I've had a few where there's a sort of, something going on, or road's been closed and I've been diverted half an hour as well. So just make sure, you factor in things like that. If you're having a photographer, just think about, are they going to be able to, if you've got a team, is one going to come to each person, or they're going to go from one to the other? Again, if you're quite far away, having the same photographer going to one, to another, back to you, to the wedding venue to take pictures to guests, again, that all just need to think about time to factor in as well. Also, is there parking? Just for the wedding car, your cars, if I'm coming to do your hair and makeup, my car, and just things like that. There's a lot of people in the wedding morning, lots of suppliers coming in. Your flowers might be being dropped off, the photographer, a videographer, the makeup artist, hairstylist maybe as well. So there's just lots of people coming and going, so it's just worth factoring that in as well. Once you've decided who you're spending the wedding morning with and where you're spending it, now time to just think about the timing itself. So although it's sort of fashionably late for the bride to be late, it's not an idea when you've got a registrar who's waiting for you and about to leave for the next one. So it's just, and it does, obviously, if you've got a lovely wedding plan, any lateness is just going to have a knock-on effect and just make the day shorter. So you just want to make sure as well you're nice and calm and you're not having any unnecessary stress. The thing is, start with a nice breakfast. It's rare you're going to have a good night's sleep, unfortunately, so I have to break this to you when your wedding morning. It's just important to have, because the last thing you want to do is your stomach will start rumbling as you're walking down the aisle. Also allow time for hair and makeup for your whole wedding party, or the people who are going to be there on the morning. Are they doing their makeup themselves? Do you want to get some mirrors? Make sure you get lots of mirrors, because if you're just in a tiny little hotel room with one mirror, 5 people fighting over one mirror can delay things. If you're having a professional do your hair and makeup, which I hope at least the bride is, just make sure I sort of allow half an hour for makeup and 40-45 minutes for hair per person, and the bride extra, obviously. Personally, when people book, have a running order in place. I like to know for the bride and or the wedding party to know who's having their hair done when, so they can coordinate having breakfast and things like that, and just so they can be, and I can make sure that everything's running as smoothly as possible. Or have small children at the wedding, then just remember to feed in nap times, feed times. I've had some brides delay their wedding because they've had to breastfeed just before they walk down the aisle. And just remember as well, if children are there, it's quite good to nominate one person at certain parts to actually look after them. Because I've been at a wedding a few times where, especially if it's the bride's children, the bride is like trying to entertain them and having their wedding morning. It's one day you deserve just to relax and have a bit of me time as well. Good to have some snacks with you on the wedding morning. Just have around like boxes and packets of croissants or something like that, because again, even if you have a good breakfast and you're not feeling hungry, usually when you're having your hair done especially, it's a time, you know, if you have some nibbles in front of you, you'll be surprised at how much it does go. And as I said, the last thing you want to do is your stomach stop rumbling when you're walking down the aisle. I suggest that bridesmaids get ready before the bride. Just because then usually if you're having photos and everything, usually it's good to have all your bridesmaids ready and mums ready, just to focus on the helping the bride getting ready. And I always aim to have everything finished, hair, makeup, etc., and start getting dressed about an hour before, especially if you're having a photographer or videographer. They'll want to take videos of you, and also you just want to have a, you know, make sure your makeup's your makeup's perfect, your hair's perfect, you've got your jewellery on, you've sprayed your favourite perfume, your shoes are comfortable, you've put any Spanx or, you know, shoe comfortable bits in it and everything like that, just to make sure you've got all that, any tights, you know, things like that, and everything's all on comfortably, and you're doing it in a leisurely time, and you're not stressed and getting sweaty just before you need to walk down the aisle. And obviously if there's, depending on if it's a church or registrar's wedding, the registrar will want to see you about 15 minutes before the actual wedding itself. So say your wedding's at 2 o'clock, the partner, the first person will usually see them at 1:30, and usually if you're going to see them separately, then the bride will see them at 1:45. And that just allows 15 minutes to have a chat with them. In my experience there, and it depends on the venue to whether you have to go to a separate room, whether they'll come to your house, the room you're getting ready in, but just speak to the venue about that and make sure there's all plenty of time. And then it's just time to actually get married and walk down the aisle. So I hope those little tips have been useful to timers and understand how, you know, a wedding morning should hopefully run nice and smoothly. And, you know, yeah, so if I can help with hair and makeup, please do get in touch. Wedding planning goes as smoothly as possible, and you have an absolutely amazing wedding day, and congratulations.